What if I told you that a text small enough to fit on a postcard could actually tackle the biggest questions of existence? Well, that's what we're diving into today. This is the Isha Upanishad, an ancient, incredibly profound poem from the very heart of the Vedas. And it's built on a series of stunning paradoxes that challenge, well, pretty much everything we think we know about life, knowledge, and reality itself.
That's it. 18, just 18 verses from a text that's well over 2,000 years old. It is so potent that Mahatma Gandhi once said that if every other scripture in the world was lost, and only the very first verse of the Isha remained, the entire essence of its philosophy would survive. So, you gotta ask, right? What in the world is packed into these 18 verses that makes them a complete blueprint for existence?
And boom, here's the first huge riddle the text just throws at us. It sounds completely backwards, doesn't it? Our entire modern world is built on getting things, on acquiring stuff to be happy. But this ancient text says the secret is the exact opposite. So, how does that even work? Let's unpack it.
Okay. To solve this riddle, we have to start with the very first two words of the text, which is where the Upanishad gets its name, Ishavasyopanishad. This one phrase sets up the entire worldview. It's saying that everything, every single atom in this constantly changing, moving universe, or as the text so beautifully puts it, whatever moves in this moving world, is inhabited by, or kind of clothed in, a divine consciousness. The takeaway here is crucial. Nothing is separate, nothing is just dead matter. It's all sacred.
So, with that foundation, that everything is sacred, we get this core instruction. By that renounced, enjoy. This is the absolute heart of the paradox. How do you find enjoyment in renunciation? Is it telling us we all have to become ascetics, give up our homes, our jobs, our relationships? Well, no, not exactly. The text is way more subtle than that. Thinkers like Mahatma Gandhi offered a really powerful way to understand this. He argued the text isn't asking us to renounce the world, but to renounce the ego's sense of ownership over it. This slide breaks it down perfectly. On one side, you've got the ownership mentality. This is mine, and that road leads to greed, attachment, and always being afraid of losing what you have. But on the other side, you've got the trusteeship mentality. Here, you're not an owner. You're more like a caretaker of things that ultimately belong to that divine consciousness we just talked about.
So here it is, the solution to that first riddle. True enjoyment doesn't come from possession. It comes from participation without being possessive. I mean, think about it. When you're not constantly worried about losing something because you never truly believed it was yours to begin with, you're finally free to actually enjoy it. It's a huge shift in mindset, not about physically rejecting the world.
Okay, so just as we're wrapping our heads around that, the Upanishad hits us with another puzzle, and this one is about knowledge. We all assume knowledge is good, right? And ignorance is bad. Simple. But the text warns that people who get lost in abstract knowledge alone can enter a greater darkness than those who are just plain ignorant. How is that even possible?
Well, the text is warning us against going to extremes. If you only focus on worldly action, what it calls avidya, which is kind of like ignorance of the deeper reality, you fall into the darkness of materialism. But, and here's the twist, if you only focus on abstract spiritual knowledge or vidya and you totally detach from the world, you risk entering that greater darkness of spiritual pride, a kind of empty void that has no connection to real life. Either path on its own is incomplete.
So what's the solution? Synthesis. The Upanishad calls for an integrated life. You absolutely need to engage with the material world. You could call this the path of science, right? To solve real problems and live a full life. But you have to do it while also understanding the deeper, unified spiritual reality, the path of spirituality. True wisdom isn't an either-or choice, it's a both-and deal.
Now, this integrated vision isn't just a cool philosophical idea. It builds into a really powerful ethical framework. This next verse is the big payoff. It says that when you can genuinely see the same self in every single being, and see all those beings within that one self, something profound happens inside you.
And the logic here is just so simple and beautiful. Once you truly realize that the same self is in everyone, the whole concept of an other, someone totally separate from you, it just starts to dissolve. And if there is no other, then there's no real reason for fear or hatred or disgust. Why would you hate another being if, on the deepest possible level, they are you? It just becomes a psychological impossibility.
The Upanishad then asks this powerful rhetorical question. And the answer, of course, is none. It's suggesting that all our sorrow, all our delusion, it all comes from this false sense of separation, from each other, from the world around us. The very moment that feeling of oneness becomes your reality, the roots of suffering are just gone.
Now, I know what you might be thinking. This all sounds like really beautiful, high-minded philosophy. But believe it or not, these ideas didn't just stay in ancient texts. They literally leaped off the page and dramatically shaped the modern world, especially in India, by providing a spiritual foundation for massive social and political movements.
I mean, just look at this. Gandhi's entire economic model of trusteeship, it came directly from verse 1. Swami Vivekananda used this idea of seeing the self in all to build a philosophy of social service. Serving the poor wasn't just charity, it was a form of worship. And Vinoba Bhave walked across India asking landowners to donate land to the poor, all based on the principle that no one person truly owns the earth.
And its relevance is not just in the past. These ideas speak directly to our biggest challenges today. The idea that the world is enveloped by the divine, that's a powerful foundation for environmental ethics. The synthesis of knowledge and action, it offers a way to heal the rift we often see between science and spirituality. And its call for selfless action is just a timeless model for ethical leadership.
So in the end, we come full circle, right back to where we began, with that foundational idea of Isha vasyam. The text doesn't just leave us with abstract concepts, it leaves us with a challenge. It turns the lens back on us and asks a very practical, very personal question. If you were to truly live as if every person, every object, and every single moment was sacred, what in your own life would you do differently tomorrow?